Control! This is one of my favorite games of all time, making it easily into the top 10 ranking. While I do think there is something to be said about this being very similar to the SCP series, I think what they did with this game and how they did it sets it apart. I remember turning on this game when I grabbed it from my local GameStop. I had a really good GameStop. Yes, it's closed now, but I wasn't sure what game to get, and the guy recommended this. I had never heard of it at all somehow. So when I got home, I got a little bit baked and saw this.
Fair warning. This is gonna be weirder than usual. Can't be helped. You called me. So here I am.
And I was already hooked. Our protagonist continues talking as we're shown the inside of this brutalist building. Federal Bureau of Control is written above the nondescript desk. She's talking to someone, and she's been looking for something to no avail. She uses an analogy about us being in a room, and there's a poster on the wall.
Like in that movie, what is it called? The prison movie. The room's a cell, and the picture, it's different for each of us. It can be beautiful or terrible, but we're all transfixed. But it's all a lie, something to distract us from the truth. They're lying to us. We're lying to ourselves. The room's not the world. The world is much bigger and much stranger. There's a hole hidden behind that poster that leads to the real world. We all feel safe in that room. But sometimes something crawls out from behind the poster.
This is Jessie. She's been sounding a bit like the conspiracy theorists of late.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
She's been brought here by something, this swirling entity that appears to be communicating with her. As we enter the building, we pass fairly easily through the security checkpoint, finding a document about prohibited items. Noticeably, no smart devices, no laptops, no pagers. But who has one of those in 2026? And interestingly, no number 2 pencils or any objects considered iconic representations of an archetypal concept. The examples given are rubber ducks and ketchup bottles, but that is a broad range. Everything appears to be abandoned. The TVs turn to static, monitors blaring red warnings. Jessie finds the seal. It's something familiar, something that she sees in her dreams. Passing the portraits on the second floor, we get to some offices. Jessie mentions that she's been looking for the Bureau, and here they were in New York City the whole time.
And they were hiding in plain sight.
In the distance, we hear some folksy music and a janitor singing along.
Hello? Hey, excuse me.
He's a bit odd.
There you are. You are here about the job. Janitor's assistant. You need to go to the interview. Go that way to the elevator.
Thanks. Elevator that way. Got it.
Very good. I'm Ahti, the janitor, by the way. You'll work for me. You can say I sent you. If they don't hire you, then you are no helvet. There be work for the axe.
Jessie feels at home with this guy. She's done these types of jobs before and knows that it can make you seem weird.
Ahti the janitor is a friendly face in my book.
Better than somebody with no face at all.
That might merit some follow-up. I would have made it more clear that I'm not interested in the janitor's assistant job, but Jessie is just like...
How does one become a janitor?
Up the elevator, Jessie keeps talking about the cell and the poster, how she was 11 when she saw behind it, how they told her she imagined it, and she asks the thing in her head to help. The opening credits play, and it's a really cool introduction to the vibe of this game. Otherworldly, but familiar, especially if you've worked an office job or have been in some bureaucratic position. Like Jesse said, things are getting weird. Lights are turning red, and things are looking ominous in general. Jesse reveals it's been 17 years since her brother Dylan was taken away by the Bureau. As we approach these double doors,
Shit. Shit. You want me to pick it up? The murder weapon? Really? And there goes the poster.
a presentation plays explaining what objects of power, or OOPs, are regular-looking items that have extraordinary powers that can cause or be created by altered world events, or AWEs. These events are mentioned to be
intrusions upon the perceived reality.
Whatever that means. The Black Pyramid is the board. Like most boards, is a shadowy organization that pulls the strings but is faceless. They also speak a weird language that somehow Jesse is able to understand.
This is what I hate about corpo speak, is that you can't even engage with an actual intellectual debate or conversation with it, because this is just all nonsense.
The gun we just picked up that let us talk to the board is called the service weapon. It is an OOP.
A very powerful one. Ingrained in the Bureau's DNA, a key component in our prime candidate program. Come out of that Russian roulette a winner and you're it.
We're transported to another realm. The Black Pyramid looms in the distance. Here, we learn to use our melee attack to defeat the enemy before we finally grab the service weapon. I love that it looks like it's breathing. We're then tasked with testing our mettle using the weapon against some of these dummy guys from afar, then taking out a few more. Once they're defeated, I can get out of this other world. The previous director, the man lying dead on the floor, is speaking to us, telling us that something is coming, and it is the duty of the director to keep the Bureau safe. To recap,
It's the dead man. Right after the pyramid spoke to me, and it was just noise, and I understood every word. And this gun's alive. You know what? I'm happy. Happy to be here.
I don't know. If I were in Jesse's position, I might be stoked about this too. Not about the dead body that we just pilfered a gun off of, but the mysterious pyramid talking in an eldritch language that I can understand. The weapon breathing, choosing me to be the next director of this shady organization. I don't know. I understand the appeal. Outside of the director's office, nothing but a red light shines down the hall. Bodies are suspended in midair. I know what's coming, so I open fire.
You can't let this happen. 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 You can't let this happen.
The thing in my head prevents me from getting overrun by this redness. Using the service weapon, I deal with these enemies that looked like possessed Bureau personnel. The gun doesn't entirely run out of ammo, rather it has a limited amount that can be fired before it needs to recharge. If you're careful, you can stop firing right before, which allows it to recharge faster than if you were to deplete it. On our way through to the executive sector, the previous director shows up again, telling us to get to something called the hotline. After taking out more enemies to clear a path, we can see that people are floating in the air, chanting something that's hard to make out. These shelters are set around where we'll find chests and useful items for upgrades or new weapons. It doesn't look like it helped this guy very much, though. The redness has taken over Central Executive.
The hissing sound that tried to invade me earlier. The hiss. burrowing into everything in this place.
Is the hiss your enemy? All right, it's our enemy.
Under the looming upside-down pyramid, more enemies show up. Once we deal with them, the director appears again, telling us that we have to cleanse the control points to fight the corruption that's rapidly spreading through the Bureau. These points act as checkpoints for the game. When you die, you'll respawn here. They allow us to make and improve weapons. Clearing them will also return the building to normal. It seems like whatever is affecting this place can physically change the environment. There's a shelter that's revealed after the corruption is cleared, and there's someone trying to contact us.
Yeah, I'm Pope, Emily Pope, Dr. Darling's assistant.
My turn. Should I lie?
Jesse Faden. I'm just visiting.
I should have lied.
Oh, shit. You're the new director.
How could she possibly know that? She tries to refer to us as the director, but Jessie insists on being called by her first name.
Look, somehow this hostile force, this
Hiss?
that works. Somehow the hiss managed to infiltrate the building without any warning.
And just like that, my name for it is official.
So now we have a name for this enemy. It seems like the hiss can create enemies, but also affects people in a more benign way, levitating them off the ground. We chat about the goings-on in the Bureau. Emily is flabbergasted that we were able to enter the facility after it was in lockdown, but Jessie wants to keep some things close to the chest.
A janitor let me in.
I love it. This is fucking unbelievable. I can't even.
Emily wonders, if we're able to cleanse control points, maybe we can cleanse the hiss out of people too. With the help of the friend in our head, we try to help this woman. But it doesn't work. The hiss disintegrating her body once it's been removed. We report to Emily and enter this conference room to discuss things. Jessie reveals that the Bureau was involved with an incident in Jessie's hometown, ironically named Ordinary. Emily reveals that she's aware of Ordinary, but it was before her time.
And very classified.
She offers to get us as many old files as she can find. Her boss, Casper Darling, would know more, but he's gone missing. The things that the survivors of the hiss are wearing are called Hadron Resonance Amplifiers, or HRAs, created by Darling and dispensed before the hiss attacked. Jessie says that the previous director, the one speaking to us from beyond the grave, mentioned the hotline.
It's another object of power, like the gun, an old Bakelite telephone, a direct line of communication between the director and the board. Maybe he can talk to you more clearly through that.
So we need to make our way to the communications department through the mailroom to find the hotline. Emily mentions that the department head, Tomasi, refused to wear an HRA. So, much like anti-vaxxers, he's likely infected. As we head towards the communications department, we get a little insight into what the infected hiss are saying.
There it is again, our welcome message.
Sounds like nonsense, really, but I'm sure there's some meaning behind it. Bloodied personnel lay on the floor, and more hiss guards show up in the cafeteria. I take them out from the stairs, through the double doors to dead letters, and another control point in need of cleansing. Hiss guard this one again, but while they're suspended in the air, you can shoot them, starting the fight, but dealing some damage without them fighting back. The guards have grenades and shields that surround them, but they're no match for the director, and the control point is cleansed, setting the room back to normal. More pools of blood in the communications department, and we see a guy getting blasted by a mail tube. There's an object of power here that's been taken over by the hiss, launching more of these containers that go into pneumatic tubes at us. It can deal a decent amount of damage if we're not careful. I get up the stairs to the right and cross this bridge over to the other side. I wait until the object is done attacking. After 3 shots, it's safe for a while to approach and cleanse it. It's a floppy disk. For the youths out there, before USB devices in the cloud, even before CDs, there were these things that you stored stuff on called floppy disks. Disks like this one were huge, and honestly, even before my time, they were actually floppy. The ones I used as a kid were smaller and more solid, but this is truly a relic of a bygone era. Cleansing it brings us to that other realm again.
It's like the channel's been changed. The board's in charge here. They're pyramids in the Bureau seal. Are they really the ones pulling the strings?
Probably Jessie. She's still rejecting her position as director, uninterested in being in charge. But she's accepted a whole bunch of weirdness up to this point, so I don't get why you can't just wrap your head around being the director. Here, we get a staple ability in the game. Launch. This will allow us to telekinetically grab things and chuck them at enemies and obstacles. If there's nothing around, the power will just grab a chunk of wall or floor to launch. We use this ability to throw these gold blocks to create a path, then defeat these dummies to exit the realm. There's an ability meter at the top of the screen that shows you how many times you can launch things. After that, much like the service weapon, you'll need to recharge. Using a combination of abilities and bullets, if that's what they are. This is the best strategy in most cases. The board tells us, okay, we have a name for this weird realm that we keep accessing, the astral plane. Of course, once we're out of it, more Hiss show up to attack, and with my newfound powers, I make quick work of them. Launch is especially effective against shielded enemies, often dropping their shields in one hit, allowing me to fire on them to finish them off. We keep moving forward to the mailroom. Just outside, there's a body with a key tag to open the door and a control point to cleanse. When we enter the room, we see
They can fly now.
They fly now!
surprise, surprise, Tomasi has become a Hiss. I immediately head upstairs. Here, I'm on a much more even playing field with him. I can use these pillars to block ranged attacks, shooting when I get an opening. Launch is great against this enemy type, but the first projectile will almost always get dodged. 2 in quick succession does a decent amount of damage. I don't beat Tomasi here. He winds up running off, opening the way through to the hotline. It's crazy that places used to look like this, and maybe they still do. I think this method of mail must have been phased out. And if you don't know what these things are, just think of the mailroom in Elf.
Oh, it's very sucky!
A phone rings in the distance, and we eventually make it to this. We can see the hotline in the distance, but there's a cord that we pull 3 times. The light changes around us as we do, then everything. This is the Ocean View Hotel and Casino and acts as a threshold, a jumping point between long distances at the FBC. In this iteration, all we have to do is ring the bell 3 times. Each ring opens some rooms down the hall, eventually opening one with a key that has a black pyramid on it. We find that door and another cable that we pull 3 times to get us back to the hotline. The board briefly speaks to us, and we have to complete a challenge in the astral plane. As we progress, we see these shifting balls of what look like rocks called astral spikes. They are unkillable, but seem to slow down slightly if you hit them. Once they catch your scent, they'll chase you relentlessly, but they don't move too fast, making it pretty easy to avoid the 2 trying to get me here. When we reach the hotline, we're put through to Trench. He tells us that we need to find the management team and get the gang together.
Darling, Tomasi, Salvador, Marshall. Marshall especially, my head of operations. She sees right through me. She knows I don't like relying on people. The only person you should fail is yourself. But things change when you become director.
We have to find the team. We've already found one of them. He's a Hiss. And Emily said that Darling was missing. So this mission is already going swimmingly. A new passage has opened up leading back to the director's office, allowing me to easily return to Emily. The only two potentially helpful members of the management team would be Salvador, head of security, and Marshall, head of operations.
She took her rangers and went to the research sector to secure the HRA production.
She's trying to make more HRAs to get out to more people, but isn't it sort of too late? Who would be hiding out that wasn't affected by the hiss? It seems the shelters don't work, and anyone without an HRA is either floating around or possessed. Whatever, we have to get to maintenance to do a directorial override.
I mean, I would love to run some tests on you. If you agree, that is.
Emily, that's quite a forward thing to ask. But Jessie relents. She doesn't want any more people to fall victim to the hiss, and her being immune could reveal a way to destroy them. Our goal now is to go through the maintenance sector to find a way to the override. That will unlock the other sectors so we can search for the other section heads. Outside, we hear singing from the elevator, and as we approach, we hear Ati.
Thine word, meet me in the maintenance.
I call out to you through the ether.
When we arrive at maintenance, Jessie ruminates over the state of things.
Maybe it was you who got me into the oldest house with the lockdown on. Maybe it was Ati. It felt like he made the elevator appear that took me to Trench's office. Is Ati guiding me too?
And at this point, we don't really know, but Ati doesn't seem entirely human. We'll see more examples of that in a moment. Moving through, we see the directorial override in a room littered with hiss, but we can't make it there just yet. After a brief battle, we clear another control point, opening the way ahead. More hiss appear in this next large room, but they're no match for the launch ability. When I round this corner, I see a red flashing light. Like a moth, I am intrigued and head towards it, falling through the floor to the astral plane. I climb my way through to a
carousel horse. Why is kid stuff always so creepy?
After touching it, I get the dodge ability. I can avoid attacks, obstacles, and get across larger gaps using this ability. There are invincible golden dummies here shooting grenades. All I have to do is dodge my way through. Then I'm transported to this weird shifting area where I use the dodge ability to get over some gaps. And we're back in the room we came from. Easy peasy. In this side room, I see a CRT TV that plays this really creepy kids show called The Threshold Kids. I don't really take my time to watch. Presumably it's for kids to learn about the FBC, but why would they want something like that? Ati's door has a poster of him on it. Typically, I would think this is a sign of narcissism, but with him, I'm sure it's something supernatural. He still thinks we're his assistant.
You got the job. It's place for congratulations. Yippee, saatana. I truly need an assistant.
Funny thing is, I've been a janitor. I'm more at home in that role than as the director. Only Ati here seems to see that.
Jessie explains that we need to get the lockdown lifted. Of course, Ati needs us to do something first.
Very small couple of hours job.
Let's go, in and out, 20 minutes adventure.
Something tells me it's gonna be more than that.
Yeah, you think there's a dog buried in this? I can tell you are not yesterday's Krause's son. That's why you make a great assistant.
And again, he can hear our thoughts. He tells us that there's a vermin problem that's messed up the coolant pumps and the power generators.
The situation needs to be fixed before the plant blows up. And we all disappear like a fart in Sahara.
Which doesn't seem like an ideal outcome. He also says that he'll be heading off on vacation soon. So the sooner we get this done for him, the better. There are other jobs that we can do for him, but I simply don't have the time for that. We now have a level 2 keycard, which gets us through the door behind Ati, and we make our way to a power plant. Trench shows up speaking to us about the imminent explosion if we can't fix this issue. Now, remember that we're smack in the middle of New York City, so if this reality-bending place explodes, we could be looking at a fairly extreme cataclysm. Down this elevator, we can access the power plant inside of this huge room. There are some security types who obviously have no clue who I am.
It's dangerous out here, lady. Go see Chief Arish. He's just inside. He'll help you.
And indeed, we find Chief Arish in this control room. He doesn't realize who we are at first. Once we introduce ourselves, he realizes...
Oh, hang on, you're the new director. It's a pleasure, ma'am.
Let's skip the formalities, please.
Right. Faden, ma'am. Look, as you can probably tell, it's a bit of a shit show down here.
The HRAs have been successful in keeping his team safe, but they are not impervious to bullets. The Hiss have been wreaking havoc down here, and these guys just haven't been able to make a dent. Arish has been down here since Salvador, head of security, told him to guard the NSC, or power plant, because...
See, what's inside is dangerous.
I'm not sure if we ever find out what that is. He reveals that Dr. Darling came down a few days ago rambling drunk about large-scale HRAs and handing out the HRAs that adorn his crew.
Hey, did I mention that he was tearing his clothes off? Crazy dude.
Jesse realizes that Darling knew the Hiss were coming.
The Hiss? That's what we're calling him? Oh, that's catchy.
Before we go and make our repairs, he asks us to keep an eye out for Salvador. Jesse thinks...
He sure has a lot of faith in his boss.
But I think this is more of a reluctant leader situation. I don't think Arish wants to make these decisions, especially ones that get his people killed. There's a control point up here where I make a few upgrades. Launch is far and away the thing that I use most, and I opt for a bit more of a glass cannon build, leveling up my ability to use offensive powers rather than speccing into health and defense. You can also build new weapons. The only ones that I ever use are the regular handgun and Shatter, the shotgun, because, as you all know,
this is my very favorite gun.
Enemies appear as I start to cross over. More flying guys like Tomasi. They'll dodge a first launch, but a quick follow-up will connect, allowing me to finish them off with my service weapon. Shielded Hiss are not an issue with the launch ability. I head to the energy converters first, dealing with some Hiss hanging around a control point and cleansing it. I launch these glowing batteries onto their platforms, activating the door. The thing in front of us is the energy converter. We'll have to attach more of these batteries to the pillar in the middle of the room while fending off the Hiss. More spawn each time we head up a level, but we're able to defeat them and power up the energy converter by connecting the batteries on all 3 levels. I take the elevator back down to the power plant. Now, for whatever reason, I always get super lost here. It's happened every time I play the game. I do find the Ranger training simulation, which is timed. I hate this stuff and don't really use the power that you receive by winning. It's this rock shield thing. I don't know. I never use it. I just don't have time to play this little time trial. Turns out you need to pay attention to these signs, which clearly state where the coolant pumps are. More enemies on this side, including these screaming dudes. They'll hover their way over to you and explode. You can use this to your advantage though, because if you take them out, they'll explode and damage other Hiss. Heading deeper in, we find another distorted red lit area infested with Hiss. Again, with my new powers, I make quick work of them, staying behind this barred door and letting them come to me. After cleansing the control point and removing some of the weirdness, we make our way to the coolant pumps. Through these caves, we feel the urgency of the situation.
Oh, this place is gonna come down.
Some Hiss try to stop us on our way, but they're no problem. Once there, we need to take more batteries and hook them up to the pipes between waves of Hiss. At one end, the pipes reject repair. It's clogged by something, so now we have to play plumber. Indeed, what we're confronted with looks like poop. Living poop. And in typical video game fashion, we need to shoot the little glowing nodes, sending it deeper into the pipes. If we're not careful, we can get diarrhea'd on.
Running down the gutter with a piece of bread and butter. Diarrhea.
And again, we need to destroy the yellow nodes. This still doesn't kill this writhing mass, and we have to do this song and dance one more time before it finally relents. I think that's the generator about to blow. So I get into the room, putting the battery on the pipe outside of the poop domain and on one that's on our way back. We get attacked by Hiss after making these necessary repairs. There's also this big boss man with a Gatling gun that shows up on the elevator that I need to use to get back to the override. Like most of the other enemies here, it's not that difficult to deal with. Now we have to find our way back to the NSC control room. Taking the elevator, we run into a fight between the Hiss and FBC agents. I do my best to keep them alive, but I don't think I'm too successful. I've pretty much built up the strategy of launching stuff until I can't anymore, then shooting until I can launch stuff again. This yields pretty decent results, but again, I think all the FBC agents die. I stop by and ask Arish about Ati.
My favorite coffee break buddy. Dude has got some crazy stories. He probably knows more than anyone else around here. If you can make sense of what he's saying.
Any idea where he's from? I'm guessing Sweden.
He's from where he's from. Look, there are just some stones that are better left unturned, you know?
I take the elevator up, immediately getting attacked at the entrance. Once the Hiss are cleared and the control point cleansed, I head up to the console to prepare the override. The service weapon takes the shape of the keyhole, and we initiate it. I need to talk to Emily about next steps, so we return to Central Executive. We sit down for a chat.
I haven't been completely honest.
Jessie explains that when her and her brother were in their hometown, Ordinary, they found a slide projector that opened up doorways to other realms.
Bad things happened. Came through.
And in one of those doorways, they found an ally, a being that was able to help them turn the projector off. And everything that came through disappeared.
After that, your people came. Tried to grab us. I ran away. They got Dylan. I left him behind.
Pope, for what it's worth, has no idea about the slide projector or Dylan, even though Jessie believes the Bureau took them. She looked into it and Trench and Darling were involved, and that a study of what happened there was conducted in the containment center. Pope pries a bit more about the being Jessie discovered.
Can you tell me more about this being you found?
Let's hope you two get along. She's been with me ever since Ordinary. In my head. She led me to you. I call her Polaris.
So yeah, the thing that Jessie has been talking to is this Polaris, a being from another plane of existence. Polaris is the reason that Jessie was able to find the Bureau at all, something that Pope comments makes her very powerful. Based on her test results, Pope did some digging, finding out there are 2 file names that coincide with Jessie.
Unfortunately, I can't access them beyond the file codes, but one was P6, referring to a prime candidate for a potential future Bureau director. This was logged years ago.
Dylan. Is that Dylan?
The other match is on something called Hedron, which must be connected to these Hedron resonance amplifiers somehow. All I know is that Marshall went to the research sector to secure the HRA production after the Hiss first attacked.
So, Marshall seems like our best lead on Dylan. I need to go after her.
So, off to the research sector we go to find Marshall, but not before we're interrupted by a vision of Ati.
We take turns to come for a visit. I helped you. You owe me now. And when time comes, I will come calling.
Okay. That's not ominous at all. Before leaving, I upgrade my launch abilities so I can launch grenades back at enemies. Then I take the elevator to the research sector. This area is where we get a good look at the brutalist architecture of the oldest house, the angular concrete representing the bureaucratic nature of a government facility, belying the strangeness of everything that happens at the FBC. Dr. Darling shows up on these screens, introducing us to the sector. I wonder if you work here, you just blot it out, but there's a desk right next to the elevator that presumably someone has to sit at. This would be terrible, hearing the same intro every time someone walked in. Reminds me when I worked at Abercrombie & Fitch, and the music there was on an hour loop. Get it off me! Get it off me! Get it off! There are little tidbits and documents around the game of general goings-on. I haven't really mentioned them, because I think if I have to edit a nearly 4-hour video again, I will actually go insane. This memo is a good example. This person was wondering about the plants around Central Research and how the janitor is singing to them. They're not complaining about the singing so much as the fact that it's the same song. Then they mention they can't remember where the plants came from. In fact, no one remembers when they were planted. The last lines say, people like them a bit too much if you ask me. Are we being invaded by houseplants? Worth looking into.
Huge if true. Huge if true.
This gives a vibe of very weird things being very normal here. I mean, sure, everyone we met has been a little too okay with what's currently happening. Based on notes like this, it appears that these things, both small and large, are frequent occurrences. Almost like the Federal Bureau of Control lacks any real control. An allegory for actual government, maybe? As we head deeper, more hiss attack. I'll tell you, these flying guys can be a real pain. But overall, the launchability is just so overpowered here. Maybe I'm just good at the game. I doubt it. There are snipers here too, but you can stay in cover and launch stuff at them, attacking while staying relatively safe. A stronger enemy and their cronies also attack, but after getting rid of the peons, it's easy to deal with the junior agent. Now over here are little things called the hiss nodes, I think. They are smaller congealed hiss energy that when shot will deactivate the hiss walls. If you take too long, they respawn, but if you have all of them in sight, it's easy. This will allow us to enter parapsychology. There's this weird hiss anomaly preventing us from going forward. We can hear someone calling in the distance.
She's in trouble. I need to reach her.
So off to this totally normal looking hallway. Once we get through the hall, we run into more hiss. I get up to the higher level and pick them off, using this upper level to flank the sniper, hitting him with a fire extinguisher. At this control point, there's another presentation from Dr. Darling telling us about the astral plane, the place where the board is, where we've done all our little quests for our powers. The Bureau has found a way to access it and has been studying it. In one of these videos, Darling explains that they first thought it was a construct of the mind, but it is a real place.
Though it is with our minds that we enter and experience it. But then one could argue that that's the case with all reality.
Okay? So when the FBC sends somebody to the astral plane, they only go there in their minds. And through those minds, they've been able to take footage of it?
That is the only concrete material that has come out of the astral plane expeditions. Apart from one shocking exception.
Okay. The pyramid we see in the distance, the pyramid that we see when the board speaks with us, is what they actually control. The rest of the astral plane is its own thing. They've also made contact with something there.
When one of our astronauts returned, a brain cloud, an astral fugue, had hitchhiked a ride in his head. It ruptured out, killing the subject in question. It's a relentless predator, pursuing thoughts, minds, lethal to those the entity feeds on. Proper containment protocols are to be observed when dealing with it.
Okay, so they've captured those angry black clouds that we've seen in the astral plane because it hitched a ride in someone's brain to come to this world, I think.
What are we doing? What's going on?
I can't believe they keep that thing here.
Yeah, what are they supposed to do with it, Jesse? They can't kill it. Apparently, the astronauts don't actually enter the astral plane, just their minds. So how do you think they'll get rid of it? We, on the other hand, do have to find a way to contain the astral spike. First, I open the security gates leading into the room and wait for it to get close. These things are invincible, but they're not super fast. So I run across, grabbing a battery and launching it on one side. Then I run back around the room to activate the other side. Then I hurry into this large area under the big door to an opening in the back. I draw the spike back here until it starts to damage me. Then I rush to the console outside, hitting the button and locking the spike away.
What was the Bureau doing with that thing?
Studying it, Jesse! What do you think anyone here does? At the end of this next hallway, we hear Marshall through the intercom, but Jesse doesn't make it in time. This next room caused me a bit of grief. You see, there is a hiss sphere that wanders around the room. Any hiss close to it will regenerate their health, so I want to end that as soon as I can. The problem is it rudely doesn't stay still, and while I try to take it out, I'm getting attacked from all sides. So, after focusing all my energy and bullets and launching stuff, I immediately retreat upstairs after destroying it. Here, I can see across to another balcony where more hiss are congregating. From here, only they can hit me. The rest on the floor have to come up the stairs to damage me, where I will see them, picking off ones far away while keeping myself relatively safe. I say relatively because I know, I should have grabbed it and launched it back, but my timing was messed up. There's also these guys on chairs that act like the flying dudes and are dealt with the same way. A little cheese for you too. If you start to run out of health, going back to a control point will replenish you so you can head back into the fray. Is it efficient? Nope. Does it prevent me from seeing another game over screen? Yep. I clear the balcony and head down to the open floor. This seems like where people would investigate the astral plane. These chairs at each workstation are called recording chairs. So I guess these flying seated hiss are people that were stuck in these chairs when the attack happened. More hiss come down once I get up the balcony. There are heavy enemies with shields waiting. I launch something to drop the shields, then aim for their weak faces. That or lobbing their own grenades back at them. Or just launching stuff at them works. Clearing the control point that the hiss were guarding clears the hallway ahead, and we finally get in touch with Marshall.
Marshall, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Who is this?
My name is Jesse Faden. I'm coming to help.
Faden? Hold on. I'm setting the elevator for you. We need to talk.
She got that right.
While we wait for the elevator, we're attacked by these messed up floating hiss.
More of you? Really?
They're not a problem at all, and we enter the elevator. We're greeted by friendly agents telling us Marshall is waiting for us down the hall, in the luck and probability office.
Congratulations on your appointment, Director Faden. I'm Helen Marshall, Head of Bureau Operations. Zachariah's dead then, and I assume you found his gun.
Just call me Jesse. Trench told me to find you. He said you could help.
And he told you this through the hotline. Makes sense.
None of this phases her? Really?
I get that Jesse finds this weird, but as we've discussed, this is a typical day at the FBC. Marshall explains that Darling created the HRAs that have been protecting Bureau staff nearby. They've been trying to take the lab but can't break through. Jesse, being a one-woman army and all, offers.
I can clear out the hiss. I'll be your firepower.
That's a good answer.
Is she testing me?
Marshall gives us security clearance and we head out to take out more hiss. We immediately come across agents in a skirmish in the Ritual Division, which would be a sick name for a band. With this group, I head in with the shotgun, blasting away until waves of hiss are dispatched. Something happens that I haven't seen before. Hiss are sent to try to prevent me from cleansing a control point, introducing us to a new enemy. In this case, their name is Parakinesiology Chief Lewis, but we'll refer to them as Earthbenders. You see, they have these rocks that spin around them, guarding them from bullets. So launching stuff at it gets the rocks down, allowing myself and my allies to fire. Once the rocks are down, the hiss seems stunned for a second, so you should have an easy time dishing out damage. Cleansing the control point reveals the door to predictive studies. Polaris draws us towards it, and we pass some creepy imagery.
Okay.
Jesse also mentions that Darling built most of the tech around here, meaning that if Marshall can't give us answers about Dylan, Darling should be able to, if we can find him, if he's still sane, judging by what Arish said to us. There's a hidden chest in this pipe room off to the side and a chest behind these crates. At the console over here, we need to match the symbol on the screen to one that Marshall handed us. Pushing the directional buttons makes the symbol change in the respective direction. I'm terrible at puzzles and I was able to figure this out, so I'm sure you will too. Lo and behold, another puzzle should be a blast. Each of these computer consoles has a number on it. Symbols are on the whiteboards here. Some are crossed off. Punch cards with matching symbols are littered around the lab. Use these on the correct computers by using the information from the whiteboards, 5 in total. I'll try to show what they are so you can see, but again, I'm awful at puzzles and I got this on the first try, so you'll be fine. So that didn't work. Marshall has an idea though. Black rock prisms are what the HRAs are made out of. If we can get more, we can make more. They should be kept at the Black Rock Quarry where Darling has a lab. To get there, we have to go through maintenance. We're familiar, so shouldn't be a problem. With the realization she needs to go on another errand, Jessie decides to shoot her shot.
What do you know about Dylan Faden?
I knew this was coming. Lives are at stake here, and we need this machine working to save those lives. Once that is done, Director Faden, then we can talk.
She's right. As much as I don't want to admit it, I'm the only one who can help.
Okay, I don't know if maybe I'd pull rank here. I am the director. We've just spent plenty of time talking with Emily about a bunch of stuff. You're telling me we can't take 15 minutes for just some information? Whatever, I do get we need to save people, but things are already pretty bad. I tell Marshall to head to Emily in executive.
Once I have the prism, I'll meet you there.
Right. I'll move out immediately. And keep an eye out for Darling. Finding him might be the key to stopping the hiss.
We are about to be exposed to a different kind of resonance. Hostile, viral, invasive resonance. That's what the Hedron resonance amplifiers are for. Taking the protection Hedron can provide us and keeping us from being wiped out.
I guess we're seeing Trench's memories of him watching Darling's recordings. Darling knew that the hiss were coming. A resonance, he calls it. The Hedron resonance amplifiers counteract this resonance, keeping the wearer safe. But what is Hedron? How is this resonance so effective against the hiss?
What are we doing? What's going on?
Marshall opens a door for us that leads right out to the elevator in Central Research. We can immediately take it to maintenance. To the left is the door to Black Rock Processing. Through it, hiss are waiting like the TSA to ruin my trip. I don't think the TSA can confiscate my psychic powers, though.
Can you keep him safe? Like you do with...
A hiss orb cornered itself in this office, making it and the rest of the hiss easy pickings for me. If we go through these very cool automatic stone doors, we'll hit a dead-end bridge. This place is called the Fire Break, and we can see other doorways with other bridges in the distance. Right now, we can't access them. Hell, we can't even access the one we need. We have to go back to this door by the security checkpoint, where some generators are on the fritz, pulling the battery out of the wall to stop it, allowing us to cross. We have to do that one more time, then place the batteries next to this door, opening the way to another pull cord, taking us back to the Ocean View Motel. Interestingly, we can hear someone outside. vaguely remember reading a memo about how the FBC spent a lot of time trying to figure out where this place actually is, never able to find it. These random tourists did, so maybe the ocean view isn't stationary or only allows certain people to find it. Maybe the FBC is just bad at their job. Government, am I right? I like that the music slows to a crawl when you walk away from the lobby. Our goal here is to observe the first room, then ring the bell at the desk, opening the next room to make it match to the first by moving the items, opening the final room, revealing the key back to another pull cord, completing the bridge that we need to get to the black rock processing. We can head down this pipe to this hole in the floor to get there quickly, running across the newly formed bridge. The main door to processing is locked, so we have to search up through this door and jump down on the other side. Some friendlies are engaging with the hiss out here. Another earthbender is over here too, but they go down pretty easily, surprisingly, and most of the allies that I have remain intact, and the control point is cleansed.
Hey, up here!
Arish is here. He asks us what the situation is in the rest of the FBC.
What do I tell him? The truth is harsh, but these people seem familiar with death. The hiss are everywhere. Most of the Bureau is lost. We need Blackrock Prism to make more HRAs for any survivors in the safe rooms. I'm here to check Darling's Blackrock lab.
So to recap, death, disaster, and imminent destruction. Another day at the FBC.
I like the people that Jesse has come across. They really are just people doing their jobs. It's normal that they deal with this, and might not even be the worst situation that they've come across. Arish explains that the lab we need to get to is right down the hall.
Bad news is a hiss monster has decided to move in, so that's great.
Monster.
That's what the Rangers said. The ones that survived, anyway.
Great. So happy we have to deal with that now. Salvador, his boss, is still nowhere to be found, which doesn't bode well.
Hey, at least we got you, our fearless leader.
They shouldn't rely on me. They don't know me. They don't know how I've failed people.
Okay, Jesse, listen. I think you're being a bit too hard on yourself. I think she's doing great being thrust into all this. Also, she failed who? Dylan? Right. Her running away from a shady government organization that also kidnapped her brother when she herself was a child is a totally rational response. The fact that she's here means that she didn't let her brother down. I just think she's being too hard on herself. We tell Arish to get his team to Emily in executive. Everyone's regrouping there. There are a lot of bodies of Rangers down here, so maybe they weren't exaggerating about a monster. This large room is part of Blackrock processing, but there's a hiss wall blocking our path. Polaris leads us to a container and what is pretty obviously an ambush.
What the fuck?
Yeah, so this is a hiss angel thing. It has the ability to disappear, but not entirely.
He has a telltale shimmer. Ow!
You can see distortion where the creature is. Things will get lifted into the air around it. If you shoot or launch things in that direction, the hiss will reveal itself, allowing for easy damage before it can disappear again. Don't let it get too close. It has a devastating attack where it throws up rocks at you. After enough time and shotgun blasts, the creature is finished. And we're off to Darling's lab. In the lab, a video of Darling's explains that there are areas where other dimensions can leak in around the oldest house, called thresholds. The quarry, where Blackrock comes from, is one of them, apparently quite stable. With Darling's key, I take the elevator down to the quarry.
Everything here is crazy. Weird, but it feels right. Like how the world should be. I am in an infinite building leading to different dimensions, and I never want to leave. Even with all the horror, I'm happy.
So yeah, I mean, all of this is pretty scary, and the stakes are pretty high, but if you've lived like Jesse for as long as you have, no family, no home, constantly looking over your shoulder, it might actually be cathartic to hear that, hey, you're the chosen one. You will now preside over this supernatural organization and have superpowers and a living weapon. Hiss are stalking the areas ahead, passing through this large chamber to an elevator which is, of course, broken. Government agency, remember? So I have to jump down these platforms and pipes while dealing with a few hiss to get to the bottom, where there are more hiss guarding a control point. Once dispatched, the way is open to the Black Rock Quarry. This place is huge, with mining equipment spread around for me to launch at the hiss that try to get in my way. As we move deeper, there are some floating stones that we need to platform across, getting to the actual quarry.
Whoa. Not what I expected.
Me either, actually. This looks like a whole other world in here, complete with Skyrim level up sky. At the back of this room, there are batteries set around 3 power supplies that we need to hook them up to. Once that's done, I take out the hiss standing around this control panel. An earthbender and a sphere show up, an annoying combination, but after getting to a higher level, they're no problem. Now I can get to the control panel and blow the quarry wall. Revealing the prism that we need. Now, back to Marshall, but oh no.
HRAs, then Dylan.
These bastards are wandering around. Luckily, there's a door up here that will get us back to the elevator and control point. Even though there are still a bunch of them in front of my destination, I quickly get back to the control point. I fast travel to Executive, speaking with Marshall and bringing her the prisms. Finally getting some information about our Dylan.
Your brother is here. He was once known as Prime Candidate 6, codenamed P6. We brought him here after the ordinary event. He was groomed to be the future director. He had talents far beyond any other candidate in the program.
Of course he did. We found you together. We share a bond. Are you with him now?
So you kidnapped him?
We took him in. Your parents vanished along with every other adult in Ordinary. Eventually, his power changed him. There were casualties. He wasn't fit to be the director.
Did you know about this? Is this why you didn't bring me here sooner? Were you keeping me away?
Jesse insists on knowing where Dylan is and is distrustful of Polaris for the first time in the game. Marshall reveals that he's in the containment sector in something called the Panopticon. A Panopticon is a real thing, a circular prison with a central tower. The idea was the guards in the tower can see the entire prison from one position. So Dylan is in a kind of prison, kidnapped by the Bureau, and has been here for 17 years. What is Jesse expecting to find at this point? Sure, it's your brother, but Marshall said there were casualties. How happy do we think he'll be to see Jesse?
I need to go check on something. Something I cannot let the hiss find. It shouldn't take long, but you must watch the Bureau while I'm gone. And remember, Dylan is dangerous. Do not let him out, Director Faden.
Jesse laments in confusion about how the people here took her brother, but allow her to be the director without question. We see in one of these pre-level intros that something is very wrong where we're going. It looks like Dylan has escaped violently and has written Jesse's name on the wall in what looks like blood. I know this is a stylistic choice, and good on Remedy for doing something interesting, but I don't like it. At the end of every mission, we get a preview of the next area. I've been avoiding talking about them because they kind of spoil what's about to happen. For instance, I would have liked to come across the Black Rock Quarry without seeing it beforehand. It makes the impact of the environments you come across less impactful, in my opinion. Here, though, it really makes it feel like Jesse's walking into something terrible. Here, it makes much more sense to me. The elevator takes us to containment where Trent shows up again, telling us that this is a maximum security prison for altered items. We clear out some hiss from this office and wow, I would hate working in a place like this. Open floor plan, no privacy. I work better without somebody looking over my shoulder. If I'm working here and someone wants to talk to me, I'll just... These cubicles on the second floor would be much better, but apparently...
This week, any documents that suddenly appear pink, light red, or any shade in between must be incinerated immediately. Failure to do so will result in termination and possible bodily harm.
Another room with a bunch of hiss waiting for me. Luckily, I have the ability to launch entire benches at enemies, so again... too much of an issue, and another control point cleansed. More spawn somehow, but launch proves, again, to be the best ability in the game. I forgot to mention, throughout the game, you'll pick up materials and power-ups. These can boost your health and stamina or individual powers. I think I have health, dodge, and launch power-ups throughout the game. Just make sure to check and scrap lower-level upgrades to free up inventory. The materials can be used at control points to get new weapons or upgrade your current ones. By upgrading, you can equip power-ups to your weapons. Again, all I use is the shatter and grip, so don't come asking me what each weapon does. By the way, I'm telling you what's worked for me as a well-seasoned player of this game. If you play this, I encourage you to play your way. We head off into the security wing, which indeed looks like a prison, or what TVs and movies would make prison look like. Myself, never visited. Only one side of these bars opens, so we're going to have to find a way around through the medical wing. Now, in most video games, you don't want to be in the medical wing. This is no exception. You see, there's a new enemy down here, past the familiar hiss enemies. We have to shoot these glowing nodes to get farther in, where we're finally greeted by the mold hosts, where those infected with the mold have become these abominations that attack anything in sight. We've seen this before, right? They aren't difficult to deal with as their normal walking self. They don't have good ranged attacks, so getting their attention and waiting for them to come through the door is an easy way to clear house. These other fuckers, though, I think they're mold turrets. A barrage of projectiles are hurled our way. The recharge time is quick, and even when I try to flank it, I feel like that scene in one of the Resident Evil games. But instead of escaping without a scratch, I die. To defeat what is apparently equivalent to a boss battle for me, I use the old launch and cover tactic, periodically running back to this room to deal with whatever enemies are stalking me. Eventually, the turret is defeated, and I make it to the central room. On the console here, we see that the P6 cell is breached.
P6 is what the Bureau calls Dylan.
It looks like the door is caught on a body. I make sure to open these bars that stopped us before. I think at some point we'll have to come back through here, so an easy entrance or egress is ideal. To get to where Dylan's cell is, we'll have to use the pull cord to the ocean view again. When we do, we can see a face flash to us before entering the familiar motel. Things are different this time. I ring the bell, opening up the next room. I flip the painting, which flips the room in turn, allowing me to get the key back to the pull cord to a fire break bridge. We're almost to the Panopticon. Meeting with the Panopticon supervisor, who's not someone I'd grab a beer with.
New director. Right. Well, okay. Hello, I'm Frederick Langston, the Panopticon supervisor. It's not the best time for a tour. We have hiss everywhere, numerous cell breaches, and system failures across the board, but you're the director, so here we go. Founded by Zachariah Trench, the Panopticon is our state-of-the-art repository for all altered items.
I don't have time for this.
Power and...
I was told Dylan Faden was kept here. Can you help me find him?
He tells us that our brother is in the maximum security level at the top floor, but there's a problem.
The Benikoff TV, it's a real doozy. Salvador took a team in to handle it, but no one's heard from them for hours. This is a Category 5 OOP we're talking about, and if we don't contain it soon, it will tear the Panopticon apart. And we don't want all those altered items getting loose, ma'am. No, trust me.
I trust him, and Jesse tells him that we'll handle it. He gives us some attitude or something. It's hard to pinpoint, but I don't like it.
I usually tell first-timers not to touch anything, so, just do that.
On the bridge in the Panopticon, we're beset upon by hiss, who are getting stronger, by the way. The level numbers above them seem sort of arbitrary. It's just the farther we get in the game, the harder the enemies are. Typical. But something weird happens with those numbers later that I'll point out. We can see the Panopticon cells are filled with altered items, each with its own pedestal covered by a glass window. The elevator at the end of this hall will take us to level 4, where more hiss are waiting.
Hello.
There's this poor guy here that's stuck looking at a fridge. If he stops looking at it, something bad happens. He's been waiting for his replacement, and we tell him we're going to help him. We don't. Claiming a control point along the way, we run across some rangers attacked by hiss. I help the best I can. I can't tell if there's friendly fire. I try to avoid it as much as I can. At the end of this hallway and beyond a heavily armored door, we see the TV, witnessing how powerful these altered items can be. A little jump dodge gets us over this ledge. Through the twisted passageway, we see a bunch of hiss. I can't damage them right now, which is kind of BS, so I hop down to deal with them honorably, I guess. The big old rock guy is Salvador, that Arish was looking for. He was one of the section heads and is quite powerful. The key to this battle is to keep moving and to take out the little guys first. If you have the opportunity to do some damage to Salvador, go ahead. But the best strategy is to avoid him, stay in cover, and get rid of the dudes with grenades that are constantly shooting at you. If you can do this, you can use the launch-shoot method that makes this enemy type pretty easy. I will say, be careful of these pillars. They work for cover for a while, but eventually they can be broken down. Salvador has a ranged attack, so whenever he's like, make sure to get behind something. After he's finally defeated, we can concentrate on the TV, cleansing it and getting sent to the astral plane. We can now levitate. That's right. This completes my ability tree for the playthrough. I love this part of the game. When you can levitate and dodge, you really feel like a superhero. Double tap the jump button to float, hold it to go higher. After a bit, you'll start to fall to the ground again. This hover duration can be upgraded, but if you hit it again, you'll start to descend slowly. The cool thing about this ability is that you can fall a far distance, and as long as you hit the jump button before you hit the ground, you'll be perfectly fine. There are astral spikes on these pillars, but they're no match for my levitation. I ignore all the enemies and just rush to the end of the test. The board is starting to sound a bit more distressed. Upon leaving, I ignore the hiss that try to jump scare me and head back to the Panopticon. There's a platform over here with this hiss that is a perfect jumping off point for me to try to get to the upper levels. There are much larger and I guess more powerful objects as we continue up, like a swan boat that was launching people out of it, gathering media attention and forcing the Bureau to nab it. Of course, when it was on the helicopter on its way, it took the helicopter down. Who knows what horrors these balloons hath wrought. We're not here for these things, though. No, we're here for Dylan. Bodies litter the outside of his cell. And as we get to a control panel, we hear Emily reaching out.
Emily? He's gone. Dylan isn't here. He might be nearby. Or maybe the hiss got to him. I don't know.
Jesse, listen. Dylan's here. With us. He just walked in. He says he is giving himself up. He's been affected by the hiss, but he is different than the others. We must isolate him.
I'm on my way.
So I came here for nothing, huh? I search around this horrific area. Dylan's cell was really barbaric. Just windows on all sides. No privacy whatsoever. People watching your every move, even your bowel movements. Pretty clear that whatever hostility Dylan feels towards the FBC, it's pretty warranted. I get back to a control point and fast travel to executive, hurrying to speak with Emily to see what happened. She explains that Dylan is for sure infected by the hiss, but he doesn't present like the people floating around or the enemies we've been fighting.
He seems more in control, more present.
I want to see him.
My brother. Or is he?
Of course. And Marshall set up an HRA-warded cage to contain him. It's on the upper floor, up the stairs.
Okay, I need to go.
Jesse, be careful.
Dylan is being held in an HRA cell of Marshall's make. He's floating in the air, reciting the mantra that the Hiss have been chanting.
You are a worm through time.
Shit.
The thunderstorm distorts you.
That's Dylan.
White pearls
Can you hear me?
Oh,
come on, Dylan. I'm here. I found you.
Into the wet. You've always been in there. You want this to be true.
Do you know who I am?
You know me. Say it.
You are Dylan Faden's sister.
He's talking in the third person. Always a good sign.
Do you know who you are?
Not Dylan. Trench and Darling made sure of that. I'm P6. P6. But I'm better now. The Hiss made me better. Push the fingers through the surface into the wet. You've always been the new you. You want this
Can you
to
stop
be
that?
true.
Please.
Not exactly the reunion I'd hoped for.
He says that it feels good to say the mantra, and when we try to ask Polaris for help, Dylan can either see or sense her.
You came in through the hole in you. We let you in. You've always been here. The only true. A copy of a copy of a copy of a copy.
Stop it!
Orange peel.
Shit.
I love that. It sounds like when my kid is mad at me, but she just says something insane, like
Orange peel.
Dylan explains what we already know. They opened up the door to the desert, where they found Polaris together. But Polaris didn't help Dylan, just Jesse. And despite this, Dylan still has powers, although what they are is not clear. Perhaps we'll find out more in the sequel. He does reveal that the Bureau took the slide projector back here.
And the Bureau did what the Bureau does. They used it. They opened the door up to the Hiss. That's the only thing I can thank them for.
There it is. We stopped the Altered World event in Ordinary when we shut down the slide projector. And now the projector's here.
Polaris is using you. The Bureau is using you. You are a puppet. You must see the truth for yourself, Jesse. Sister. The horrible truth about the Bureau. The Hiss is the better option. Go to the Prime Candidate program in the containment sector. I have the keycard to get you there. Salvador wanted me to have it.
Wanted? Bullshit. I saw what the Hiss did to Salvador. What it turned him into.
Okay, Dylan. I'll go. I want to see the truth for myself.
We sit down with Emily, and while she's been taking samples and running tests, as she does, there aren't any definitive answers yet.
Dylan told me he let the Hiss in. Does that change anything?
Voluntary conversion. I mean, hypothetically, that could affect the mental state post-corruption, as well as the extent of biological alteration. But again, this is new territory for me. I'll need time.
You won't have it. I'm gonna shut down the slide projector. That's how the Hiss are getting in. Once I close it, this should all be over.
Jesse, we don't know how this works. If you sever their connection to the source, it could cause a terminal chain reaction. Every Hiss-corrupted individual dead.
Better that than what Dylan is now.
Jesse's right. The Hiss is a great threat to the outside world. If Dylan has to be sacrificed for it, then that's what has to happen. Jesse isn't responsible for the Hiss, but she can be responsible for ending it. Before heading there, I stopped by the research sector, back to this room with all the chairs, to find the X-ray lightbox object of power. It appears to have captured the attention of our enemies who are not hostile. In the side room, we have to match the symbol on the console to access the lightbox. Upon touching it, we're transported to the astral plane. A boss health bar shows up for a golden copy /NPC variation. What you have to do is damage the other peons that show up until you can seize their minds. These guys will now be on our side and able to damage the boss. I just hide behind this pillar and keep doing this until the boss's defeat. Once we leave, All the enthralled enemy brains are fried, and we now have the seize power. Still not as OP as launch and float, but still useful for drawing enemy attention away from you. We can now head over to the containment sector and to the Prime Candidate program. You see, I told you we were going to have to come through here again. In one of those rooms, there's a presentation about the oldest house, how the Bureau just kind of stumbled across it in the subway tunnels, how it somehow avoids detection from the outside world, how it's larger inside than is physically possible. There's a picture of it rising into the sky over the city, to which I say, if it's invisible, wouldn't something run into it? Is it really a building at all? We're attacked again, heading back out this office door, but I run past, using the level 6 key card to open the Prime Candidate program.
Prime candidates. The Bureau needs a director. Our future. P6 and P7.
Remember, Dylan was called P6 here. We can guess who P7 is. After clearing out the hiss in this warping hallway. I head into the room marked P6, seeing Darling projected in front of us, telling of how they found the projector, and Dylan has Northmore level readings. Northmore was another director, by the way. Apparently, that's a pretty big deal, which is why they've been so focused on Dylan. The screen gets darker.
There was an incident. Yes. We lost a valuable member of our team, yes. Excessive force. Dylan has so much. But he's just a kid. I'll take the blame. He needs some slack. I mean, boys will be boys. He's exceptional and under a lot of stress.
Stress that you put on him. We've seen the cell, we've seen how he's been treated, and I'm surprised one person was the only casualty, especially if Dylan has powers of some kind. So yeah, he killed somebody because, I'd say, of the Bureau's abuse. The Bureau is hard to trust because, surprise, surprise, Jessie is P7, and the FBC has been following her since Ordinary.
All the times I felt paranoid, I was right. The Bureau could have given me the answers, but they just stood by and watched me.
They tracked Jessie from Wyoming to New York City, realizing that she might be headed for the oldest house. A recording of Jessie recaps the Ordinary event, saying that the dump where they used to play as kids, how profoundly sad, had changed when they found the projector there.
Did you ever feel that way when you were growing up, Jessie?
What? No. Yes, but that has nothing to do with...
Was there a slide projector at your home when you were small?
No.
Those were before your time, I suppose. But your family did look at photos together, maybe. In one form or the other?
Maybe.
When was this? Can you remember? At parties? Barbecues? How did it make you feel? Did your parents ever show pictures that embarrassed you? Was alcohol ever involved at these parties? Did your parents drink? Did that make you uncomfortable?
No, that's just stupid. Come on. That has nothing to do with this. Nothing.
The slide projector, let me ask you this. As a child, did you ever fantasize about worlds inside pictures? Inside a painting? You know, stepping into a painting, into a hidden world, escaping and finding adventure there, away from your parents.
I don't think so. I don't remember.
So Jessie was trying to go to therapy, and lo and behold, her therapist was an FBC agent, gaslighting her into thinking that everything that happened was in her head. Seriously? Fuck the FBC. Don't worry, Don't worry, it gets worse. We head down to a place where they studied ordinary, clearing some hiss on our way there. Careful when you get to this elevator. Calling it triggers this guy to try and jump scare you. Taking the elevator down, we face more hiss, clearing a control point here and normalizing the area. In this large cavernous room, there's a turnstile for the train cars. This all leads to the New York subway. It's part of how the FBC is able to operate covertly. Astral spikes patrol below us, and hiss appear to block our way. A bunch of these floating bombs and chair guys. We also have to destroy these little mold nodes that block the turnstile. A set of them on either side of the room. Once that's done, we can get to the control room through this opening on the lower level, avoiding the spike. Hitting the button here connects the tracks and opens the way forward to where they studied the ordinary altered world event. After fighting another one of those hiss angels, again,
he has a telltale shimmer.
I dealt with it from these stairs. That way, it can't get behind you. The next room has a whole plane. Either the plane is an altered item or it came from an AWE. I'm not sure. We need to activate the power here. The first power supply is right in front of us, the second on a shelf next to it. The final one is over in this side room across the tracks. 2 outlets line the door and one is near the elevator in the corner. Once all 3 are in place, the elevator opens up, bringing us right into another hiss battle with a named enemy. Supervisor ID HR119. Quite an intimidating title. Like the good leader that I am, everyone who stands up to me is promptly dispatched, including the sneaky guard hiding in the security room. As we head through this area, we recover documents about the ordinary events, told through interviews between Jesse and Dylan. When Jesse was 11 and Dylan was 10, they found the projector at the dump, flipping through the slides and visiting the worlds within them. Some seemed normal enough, like one with just an empty house, but there were others, like one called Meadow, with an empty lot and some weeds. Dylan states they would have crazy dreams there. It would look like everything was melting. And when they went back, everything around the projector had melted. They befriended a bullied kid named Neil and took him to play with them at the dump. Neil had become enamored with the Meadow slide and had been going to the projector alone, eventually leading bullies there. They trapped Neil in the Meadow slide and took it, opening up a slide Jesse and Dylan called Temple. It was more like a bombed-out concrete warehouse where something called the Knot Mother lived with her children. These bullies began to drink the Knot Mother's milk. Gross. And they began to change and become more aggressive, culminating with them maiming and killing a math teacher. This caused the town to be locked down, and the bullies were taken into custody, claiming that the Night Mother would make them go away. Jessie, after being interrogated by her parents, wished they would go away, and the next day they did. No more adults existed in the town of Ordinary. Jesse and Dylan tracked the bullies to Sled Hill Cave, and through the Knot Mother's influence, they were becoming monsters that our duo called Dung Monkeys. These instances and Dung Monkeys spread, taking the kids into town. Jesse and Dylan, trying to end this, grabbed the projector, prompting a chase. A dog-like creature showed up and saved them. Dylan is convinced that this dog creature is what became of Neil. They couldn't turn the projector off, so they changed the slide to Hand, or the world where they found Polaris, and she saved them. This Hand slide is the only one that the Bureau was able to save, designated by a number 36. Jesse burned the rest of the slides. After clearing a few hiss and clearing a control point, we hear a recording of an interview that Dylan was having.
What day is it today?
How the hell would I know? It's not like you give me a calendar.
You find a rabbit in the woods. It is breathing, but not moving. You cannot see any blood. What do you do?
Leave it.
Expand on that.
It doesn't matter. The rabbit's not real. None of it's real.
What day is it today?
Do you enjoy asking people questions that can't be answered? Is this what gets you up in the morning? What you dreamed of doing as a scared, stupid little girl?
Can you describe a dog to me?
In Ordinary, we had a friend. Nosebleed Neil. And when it all went crazy, you know what I mean. Nosebleed Neil turned into a dog. Or something like a dog.
What day is it tomorrow?
Fuck off! I don't know! There is no calendar! How can I fucking know?
Dylan, calm down.
Fuck you! Fuck you and fuck Casper! Hey! Are you watching this, you old fuck? Did you send your bitch because you're too scared of me? Where is Cashmo?
Security, get a team in here.
I mean, hopefully the woman interviewing him was injured. Are they torturing this guy? Since he was very young, what were they hoping to achieve? Apparently this recording was taken after the incident where someone lost their lives and they didn't change tactics. Or they did and it made everything worse. The FBC overall seems pretty inept under Darling and Trench. Pressing this button opens up this huge viewing door. Initially, we just see a house bathed in red, but when the lights come on,
It's all here. Our home, our school, the woods, the dump.
so we can float over this model of ordinary, seeing the significant points marked. Jesse's home, the school, the cave, and the dump. Of course, when we try to leave, we're beset upon by Hiss, but I use their explosives against them, letting me finish this battle quickly. Heading up these stairs, I find another recording of Jessie and her terrible therapist.
You mentioned a poem last time we talked. By Thomas Zane?
Yes. Beyond the shadow you settle for, there's a miracle illuminated.
I looked the poem up. Only I couldn't find any poet by that name. I did find a European filmmaker who moved here in the 60s, named Thomas Zane. What? I don't... No matter.
If you've played Alan Wake, you might remember the name Thomas Zane. That's because these games share the same world. I will play Alan Wake 2 eventually, as that connects to Control. They go on to discuss how Jessie feels like something is missing from her.
It's natural for you to feel that way. Your brother and your parents are dead.
No! No. Dylan's not dead. And that's not even it.
You're referring to the imaginary friend from your childhood?
Polaris. She's come back. After a long time, she's calling me. In a dream I saw, she showed me things.
Jessie.
It felt more real than anything. As real as what happened in Ordinary.
The industrial accident in your hometown? That you believe Polaris caused?
No, it wasn't an accident. There was no industrial accident, and Polaris didn't cause it. She saved me and Dylan. It was a cover-up. The government knows about it. There were agents there. Agents from... I don't know exactly, but they took Dylan. I'll find them. I won't stop looking. Polaris wants me to go to New York. There's a building there. I have to leave soon. I have to be there at a very specific time. Something hugely important is going to happen.
Jessie, you know we can't let you go until you're well. And that begins by understanding what's real and what's imagined. So they were gaslighting Jessie, attempting to get her to believe the story that the Bureau weaved in order to placate her, make her feel like she was crazy until she gave up her search, which is weird. If she was the 7th prime candidate, why keep her entirely in the dark? It's pretty apparent at this point that Dylan wasn't going to be a good director. Wouldn't it be better if they encouraged her to come to the oldest house to take his place? At the end of the hallway, we find that the Bureau has moved the entire dump here.
In the middle of New York, and nobody saw a thing.
It is impressive the power the FBC has, how they've been able to do these incredible things and hide from the rest of the world. But according to a file found in this control room, they were planning on sealing the dump up. Despite all this effort to move it, it seems like they didn't find anything. As we head out, the Hiss arrive. After defeating the Earthbender and the named flying enemy, Operative ID MZ215, who winds up being pretty annoying, especially with all his screaming friends. Getting to this upper level makes the fight much more manageable. Even though there's less cover up here, it's easier to dodge and float around. Down in the lab, we don't really find anything but a recording of a distressed Darling.
Effective immediately. I'm setting up a new department. Dimensional research in the research sector. Transferring the slide projector there. That's where my focus will be now. The ordinary site remains as is. We'll be back to... I don't know when.
Okay, so we now have to go back to research to try and find this thing in Darling's new department of dimensional research. Hitting the button at the dump allows us to get right back to the turntable and back to the control point that we can fast travel from. Once back in research, we head out to the main floor again, defeating the hiss with brute force and hypnosis to get up to Dr. Darling's office on the upper floors. Here we find a recording of him lamenting that people are asking about the HRAs. I'd say fair. He's been handing them out, saying that they're important, but won't say why. He's getting a bit loopy.
What's the deal with the Hadron resonance anyway? Fuck. Despite what you may have heard, HRAs are not monitoring devices. We're not tracking your movements. We're listening to your conversations while you're wearing them. We do that regardless whether or not you're wearing an HRA. Think of them as a life preserver. Only instead of water, the thing HRAs protect you from is classified. One day that classified, not water, might pour in, and you'll be glad you got an HRA keeping you afloat. And if you don't have an HRA, don't worry. It'll be quick and painless. Kidding. I'm kidding. We're making more.
We can see that things around Darling were really starting to fall apart. The water he mentioned has to be the hiss. He knew they were coming and still worked in secret. Why didn't he tell people to stay home if they didn't have an HRA? Right next to Darling's office is the entrance to another fire break, where we see Trench again.
Constantly changing labyrinth. You can never pass through. Dimensional research.
This takes us to an Art Deco inspired area where we hear Ati speaking to us.
Contact the janitor if you need to get through.
And Jesse says something kind of silly.
How many dead ends can this place have?
Like literally infinite dead ends, Jesse. Have you seen where we are? So now we have to find Ati. I swear I never noticed that we were doing some fetch questy things here, and I'm not a fan, but I do need to get through. So it's back to Ati's office. On the way back, we run into more hiss, they're easy to defeat, and finally get to the janitor's office. I'm happy I won't have to run somewhere else.
There's no Ati.
Oh, what the hell? Touching this painting reveals Ati's location.
Now this boy left, said the son of Annikki Tähti. My assistant will keep work in the glove and the house standing. Lomille lomps, holiday humps.
Or, well, I don't know if it did. The vision of the sunset does show us a way through a door that's appeared where the painting was. Within these pipes, the hiss are waiting. I deal with them to the supple tune of Ati's singing. The sunset leads us into a fire break where we hover down past several bridges. Interestingly, this brings us to a familiar room, the NSC coolant pumps, where I fought the poop monster before, albeit not this upper level. Mold lurks up here, with my least favorite enemy, the spore turret, on the platform in the middle of the room. Being very careful to defeat the mold coming after me before taking the turrets out, using any cover I can to launch things at them until they are defeated. Making my way around to the sunset, we see another pull cord to the ocean view. Hitting the bell, we see that the poop monster has checked in. Ringing the bell a second time, we find a bunch of radios about. We need to tune all of them to what sounds like Ati chanting. We do the same in the third room and hear the monster scream. ringing the bell again to open the poop room and get the key. This doesn't open up the pyramid door, but rather the janitor's door and another pull cord. This transports us to the Black Rock Quarry. Okay. Through this door, we can see that the Bureau has set up camps up here. And the sunset is across where we set the explosives for the Black Rock Prism. We float there, finding an elevator shaft that we can hover down. A lone security guard doesn't see us coming.
Charles in charge of our days and our nights. Charles in charge.
I press this button to start bringing the lift over, but this gains the ire of the hiss. I'm able to get aboard the lift before having to defeat all of them. We're again serenaded by Auti's music. This place is called Nowhere, and it reminds me of Nest from the Resident Evil 2 remake. But this never-ending abyss is where Auti's decided to take his vacation. He's not happy that we're interrupting.
Hey, good. For a fin. Holidays, holy.
He does come back and speak with us, though.
Did you have peace in your sock?
No, Auti. I just needed a way through the maze.
Take my cassette player. You can borrow it.
Thanks, man, but what the hell am I supposed to do with this? There are people watching that don't know what that is. We take his cassette player and return to the ashtray maze. At least the game had some wherewithal to put a fast travel point next to Auti and the entrance of the maze. Once we start listening to the song, the maze allows us in. The song is okay. The fact that it starts with the guy saying, "Take control," just doesn't do it for me. I don't know. I'd rather there be no lyrics, honestly. I like most everything else about the song. I'm a music snob though, so you can ignore me. What happens is a gambit while we rush through the maze to the song blasting in the background. If you get stuck, the music will just loop while the song waits for you to catch up. I would say this room is probably the hardest. After getting past a round of hiss, there's this big dude and a hiss sphere and a bunch of other goons around. But of course, the sphere must be dealt with first. Otherwise, these guys are basically invisible. Through another trippy sequence and scaling the pillars that rise in this huge room, we make it to another fire break.
That was awesome.
It's grown on me, Jesse, but that's the most I'll give to you. Trench speaks with us again.
Projector. The expedition into Slidescape 36. What Darling brought back.
And we enter dimensional research. There's a control point in this red sand. Like every time you visit the beach, the sand has gotten everywhere. And we climb these stairs to see a vision of the Slidescape.
There was a doorway here. To where Dylan and I went, where the projector took us, where we met you. The Bureau opened the same door here, but there's just an echo now.
I float to the upper platforms, getting to where the projector should be. Of course, upon opening the blast door, it's not fucking there. Through these hallways to the Hedron Resonance Lab, where we find another symbol lock with a post-it with the symbol next to it. The operational security at this highly secretive paranormal government organization is top-notch. After matching the symbols, the door opens.
Expedition 3. We located the source of the resonance in Slidescape 36. It is an entity. A living organism of a considerable mass. I've named it Hedron based on its physical shape.
Hedron.
We built a container for it.
You? Did he bring you here? Is that why you brought me here? You're here. You're here. They have you. I know you. I remember her from Ordinary. I'd never see you again.
So Polaris and Hedron both originate from this being. That's what we've been communicating with the whole time, I think. Are those pipes coming out of it part of it or part of whatever the Bureau is doing to it? We hurry down to this door adorned with a giant HRA, using launch to release the lock.
Are you sure? Hi. I made it.
The hole in your room is a hole in you. You gave it, we let you into the hole in you! You have always been here. The only child. A copy of a copy of a copy!
Why did you... This was a mistake.
Indeed, it seems like we've been bamboozled. The Hiss start attacking Hedron, which seems to be required for the HRAs to work. So we need to clear the Hiss and cleanse the dishes at the base of Hedron. This is done in quick order, but this fight is far from over. Hedron lifts into the air and we can see that more corrupted dishes are set about these platforms around her. I head up, dealing with the Hiss sphere first before finishing the rest. The platforms rise again, and a new dish aims at the being. From afar, I take out as many Hiss as I can before making my way over. There's this tunnel here that I can go through to get a good angle on the Hiss as they spawn. I hypnotize some of them to fight with me against this named enemy. Cleansing the dish and going up yet another level. Again, I take out as many as I can from this perch that I've made for myself and float over once the first round is defeated. When the next round of enemies show up, I hurry back across the chasm, taking cover, and defeat them from afar again. While I'm taking heavy fire, this seems to work until an earthbender somehow gets across. There's another one that makes it over to me too, somehow, but I get him before he can get away from the ledge. A couple of chair guys show up, but they're taken out by my 1-2 launch combo. A named enemy tries to take me down, but really doesn't put up much of a fight. I can basically ignore all of the other Hiss while I'm over on this platform, dealing with the tougher enemies. Eventually, they start somehow spilling over here. I try to figure out how, but it might just be some Hiss magic, I guess. The stragglers are defeated and I cleanse the next siphon, sending the Hiss away and clearing Hedron. Once we get up these pillars, we realize that the damage is done.
Poster comes down and there's nothing there. It's just the cell and death. I was wrong. There was never anything there.
And because Hedron was the thing keeping Jessie safe from the Hiss, she's now vulnerable to it.
You are a worm through time. The thunder song distorts you. Happiness comes. White pearls and
Roll credits. Yep, that's the game. We completely failed, and now the world is doomed. Or wait, why is the Hiss mantra showing up in the credits? Why is all this happening? That's right, friends. The game is not over yet. We awake in the executive office as a new employee at the FBC, and people are not happy with our presence.
There's the new girl, standing around daydreaming, and she should be getting work done. But who the hell does she think she is? The director?
Okay, rude. That also sort of implies the director doesn't do anything. I know that's true of a vast majority of CEOs, but Jessie has had to go onto the front lines as the director of the FBC. We're given mundane tasks: collecting coffee cups, scanning forms, and delivering mail. We do these menial tasks and everybody really sucks.
Don't let it go to your head.
Thank you for giving me a chance.
Gosh, I'm glad I never worked in an office. I'm sure not all of them are this bad, but in my head they are. We can see weird things here, like a floating hiss-infected person in the shelter with a very casual ranger next to them. This guy here seems to have fallen over. I head down this hall as I'm not too keen on these annoying tasks and want to speak to the director about my treatment here. I would never do this in real life. Remember, HR is there to protect the company, not you. Ati's down here, making a lot of sense.
Are you sure you are not lost? Maybe you can find yourself in the director's office.
But Trench doesn't want to speak with us, so it's back out onto the floor to endlessly do these tasks. That's right, once you've completed one, it pops right back up. Eventually, some mail will come out the tube, red light surrounding it. We can grab it and head to the director's office.
Oh, great. I was just waiting for my mail. Just leave it up, please. Take the outgoing mail as well. Thank you. Very good.
What is happening? I don't like this. No, this isn't me. I'm not me. I can't. Why can't I feel you?
Okay. Back out to the floor where Jesse is starting to freak out.
What is this? I want an end. Wake up, please. I want to go home.
I feel you, Jesse. This is a special kind of hell. More weird things start happening, like Dylan watching us through this window, hiss starting to show up at the desks. I'm not sure what triggers the mail to show up, but I grab it again and return to the director's office.
You should keep trying. You are getting closer.
And when we enter the office, the director is talking to himself, saying he had a plan. But Jesse, through these visions, realizes the truth about the hiss.
I won't let them win. That's how it happened. The hiss got Trench first. He turned on the projector. He let them in. I have to remember the hiss. The hiss is the enemy.
More weirdness as we head right for the mail and the director's office. Entering again, we see Trench. Red light around him as his distorted voice speaks the hiss mantra.
You are a worm through time. The thunder saw scorch you.
I know what I must do.
Yellow and red.
Start at the beginning. I should have seen it earlier. This is my mess to clean up. My fight. No one else's. I am the director.
Through the hotline, we hear someone who hasn't communicated with us before. Not directly, at least. Dr. Darling.
I have a classified message for the director of the Federal Bureau of Control. I have sad news. Hedron is gone now, but it was not a source. It was a catalyst. Do you understand? You must go to my office. The endgame. It will be revealed.
And Jesse's nose starts bleeding like 11. Why did that become a thing? I get that it suggests that something is happening in the brain, but like now it's everywhere. And didn't Stranger Things get inspiration from another movie? And this has only happened to Jesse one time. Out of the office, we see that hiss-infected Jessies are floating in the air, saying the mantra. I find my way to a pull cord that gets us to the ocean view, somehow. I kind of thought all this was in Jesse's head. Maybe it still is.
Why should that mean that it's not real?
Jesse does a decent job explaining this.
The motel is a place of power, of change, a place to pass through, connecting everything. This is a dream inside my head. Why shouldn't it take me anywhere I want to go?
I'm not positive that's how dreams work, Jesse, but here, probably. Whatever, doesn't matter. Ringing the bell opens a door with a key that has a music video playing by Dr. Darling. I don't have time for that, and grab the key, opening the door that has Jesse's portrait on it.
Hedron is dead, but you're alive here in me. Maybe Hedron put you in our heads when we met her. Maybe you were always there, and she was just trying to teach me how to trigger you. Maybe I'll never understand. Maybe I don't need to. Trench was the first to be corrupted by the hiss. Slowly, over the years. His need for control only made it worse. It was Trench who took the projector to the nostalgia department. He opened the door to the hiss. Just like that. With Hedron dead, the hiss tried to corrupt me too. But I'm stronger than them. We're stronger.
So, Polaris and Hedron are two different things. Polaris is a being in Jesse's head, either placed there by Hedron or something that's been with Jesse this whole time. We don't really have evidence that Jesse was hearing things or feeling Polaris before the ordinary AWE, so I don't think that this was Hedron's doing. With Polaris in tow and now completely healed from the hiss, we head towards where Trench turned on the projector to let the hiss in. The board is distressed as the hiss are now within the astral plane, attempting to take them as well. The ramifications of this are unclear, but probably not good, and we traverse this writhing red hallway to the projector.
I knew I had to end her dream. I had to wake her up. I had to rip down the poster she'd been staring at. Cut off her eyelids to make her see. To save her.
So maybe Dylan sent us to get corrupted by the hiss to reveal the truth to us, to make sure that we had the tools to defeat him and the hiss, to take over the bureau that had tormented him most of his life. Maybe there's a bit of Dylan in there that understands that Jesse didn't want to abandon him. She was only 11. Best case scenario, they would have both been tormented and experimented on, put in a glass case viewed 24/7. We get the projector into the astral plane. Dylan floats at the base of the board's pyramid. Jesse states that there's a part of Dylan that's still in there, which is how it was for her. That might have been what she just heard in the shifting hallway. I would ask though, do we know what Dylan's like? She has a memory of him, and I know there's still some debate over nature versus nurture, but he's been nurtured by the Bureau. So the Dylan she knows might not be there anymore. Platforms rise in this hiss-corrupted astral plane, and we face off with several hiss on each one. This is where I was saying the numbers seem arbitrary. These guys have a level number up to the 30s, whereas the dudes I was just fighting had the number 6. I don't know, maybe just don't have the numbers if they don't mean anything. The first platform isn't tough. There's a shielded big guy, but as long as you're launching his grenades back, he's done in short order. I will mention if you try to get to the high ground, these pillars can be destroyed. So just be careful if that's your strategy. The next series of platforms doesn't have any notable enemies, just float on through to the next arena. This is the largest and supposed to be the toughest. I don't think this is the toughest fight in the game, specifically because you have plenty of opportunities to obtain the high ground. Something that I would recommend doing, because in the first round of enemies, there's an invisible angel hiss. From here, it can't get to you. And if you pay close attention, you can damage it as it tries to find a path. Again, Telltale Shimmer. You're going to need to watch out for grenades. Things get a little bit more difficult after I take out this wave. The angel is still hanging around as it can't get to me on this pillar. The flying guy with his shield can. So when I fall, I dodge quickly and retreat to the perch as high as I can. The screaming, exploding hiss can't reach me, so I can focus on the tougher enemies. At some point, I'm not 100%, when the disappearing angel is defeated. Maybe through my desperate launching, I got it. I don't know. Intermittently, I run around grabbing up the health that my slain enemies have dropped. The final round is an enemy of earthbenders with some goons. Same strategy as before. Stay high, stay moving, stay healing. What is that? RFK's mantra?
You know, I used to snort cocaine off of toilet seats.
I focus on the boss Earthbender, and once he's out, we can get to the base of the pyramid. Floating and dodging across these platforms until I make it to an area where Dylan is floating.
And the truth will emerge out of you! You are home! You remind us of home! You've taken your boss, you!
Dylan's in a coma. I don't know if there's anything of him left in there. If he'll ever find his way back. The portal's been closed, but the hiss is still in the oldest house. And the lockdown can't be lifted as long as any trace of it remains. I'm working on a solution with my management team, but there is still a long road ahead. I'm the director of the Federal Bureau of Control. We're in this together. You and I.
Once that's done, Jesse now has this cool director getup that came from nowhere, and we can do some post-game things.
Shawshank Redemption. That's the name of the movie I was thinking of earlier. Not important, but that was it.
Speaking with Emily Pope, Jessie has come into her own as director, speaking clearly about the need to defeat the hiss before lifting the lockdown. Have they been eating? How long has it been since this whole thing started? Whatever. Emily is having some windfalls.
Look, I'll do what I can on my end, but my research is progressing slower than I'd like.
I think I can help with that. I am making you the head of research, effective immediately. I want you to use everything the Bureau has, every resource, every confidential scrap of data, and find a way to keep the hiss out for good.
That's... Really? I mean, yes, I can certainly... Yes! Yes, I accept.
You'll do great. Besides, I didn't really have anyone else lined up.
I'm honored, Jessie, really. Thank you.
I love this. Emily has been ride or die since the beginning of the game, and hopefully we'll see her in the second entry. We speak with Arish, and he makes some very good points.
Research should not be making decisions that endanger the entire Bureau, fuck it, the entire fucking world, without some serious oversight.
I think Pope would agree. Certain people in the Bureau have been working in the shadows for too long.
There's a lot more that goes on in the postgame. The Foundation DLC and the Alan Wake DLC are things I ran out of time to cover in this video. So if you want me to cover them, let me know in the comments. To call the end of this game anticlimactic might be fair. You go through this whole thing just to fight a few rounds of hiss and cleanse Dylan. The Hedron fight and this were kind of tough. I just wish they had a typical boss battle type thing. A unique hiss based on Dylan that we had to fight or something. With the new game coming out, a boss battle with Dylan would have maybe previewed what playing as him would be like. I'm not sure how far ahead they thought about it, with this now being a series, but I don't know. That's not to say I don't love this game, I do. Top 10, absolutely. The mind-bending world, the way it's presented, and something that I can't really explain in the video, how the game feels to play. It's this effortless, almost second nature that comes with it. You don't have to think about what you want to do before you do it. Everything has its own designated button, and it's very fluid and fun. Yes, this game is heavily inspired by the SCP Foundation, which is a great communal internet world that's been created. But because it's communal and free, I don't think it follows the same copyright rules. I studied music, so my copyright understanding ends there. I'm not saying it's right, I'm just saying. While some SCPs are things, some are people or viruses, and I don't actually picture the SCP Foundation with a headquarters like the oldest house, or being run by a mysterious otherworldly board, even though I think they kind of are. So, while I think that's a fair criticism, I stated before that being inspired is another way of saying ripped off. I don't think that's bad all the time. And here, Remedy made an interesting game with a concept that, sure, might be unoriginal, but the game itself certainly is. I expect the SCP analogs will taper off with the new game. I don't want to speculate too hard about what's going to happen, and I try to stay away from spoilers, but I think it's going to be very interesting that Dylan will be the main character, and that Jesse is now the one who's gone missing, or fishing, as the board says in the trailer. I'm interested to see what a non-hiss infected Dylan is like. His personality and his internal monologue will be interesting aspects. He seems to have a whole different set of abilities, which, if they follow the formula of this game, should be a blast to play. But that's it for Control. If you want to play this, you should. I deliberately didn't talk about or do some of the side quests like the murderous fridge or the out of control anchor, so you'll still get your own experience out of it. If you prefer me going into detail for every side quest in my videos, let me know in the comments. For me, it's one of the best. I'm glad Remedy made it and connected it with Alan Wake. I want to thank you for making it this far. It means the world to me. And every view, like, and kind word keeps me going. I really appreciate you supporting. And please let me know what games you would like me to cover. I'll see you in the next one. Love you.